Good afternoon. I wanted to have a little bit of a talk about what I see forthcoming in the pretty near future for individuals, especially in the New York City government and I believe many other places eventually. But I think this needs to be said. I'm sure it's probably been said before. I'm sure it's been talked about, but just in case. I can't say I've really heard it talked about in any detail or any length, so I feel it's probably important just to put out there. This fight that's going on right now between, say, the firefighters and the sanitation crews and all that and the New York City government, well, I don't think it's going to fare too well for those employees or former employees. I just don't think it's going to fare too well. I have a feeling that it's not just going to stop at just them losing their jobs. Unfortunately, I think they're going to take it much further. I think that there are individuals that are relying on the notion that they're going to have some type of an income from working, a long time with, say, the fire department or sanitation department or whatever, because they've accrued all this time and they've got this pension and all that built up, right? I think they're going to lose it. I think that's going to be the next step that particularly New York City, but I think many other places are going to follow suit. But I see them doing that next because I think that they're going to want to send a message. I think that might very possibly be, quote unquote, the job of New York City especially, is to kind of be the warning to the rest of the country. If you don't fall in line, this could happen to you. And it absolutely could. It could happen to just about anybody in this country. Anybody that's employed, it could most certainly happen to. And it's very concerning. And it goes beyond just those employed. I mean, it could be anybody that, in the future, anybody that receives any type of social benefits whatsoever, whether it's retirement, whether it's, anything. I have a feeling that they're just going to keep expanding out with this. And it's truly going to be what the good book says about not being able to buy or sell, not being able to purchase food and all that good stuff. I say good stuff, but, it's kind of concerning because I see this playing out. And it's not just this. I'm not focusing on just one piece of scripture. It's so many multiple pieces of scripture that are all coming together right now that indicates to me that this is the particular time that the Bible was referring to. Now, I'm not saying the end is nigh. Tomorrow, the sky is going to fall. Because we've got a ways to go yet. We've got this whole period of tribulation to go. And I don't want to get this going on a Bible thing, but we've got a rough road to go before, anything good is going to come of anything. And I think a lot of people they conveniently forget that part. So I think that there's a lot more to come with this, and I would advise anybody that is employed by government of any jurisdiction, but especially New York City employees right now, brace yourself for losing anything that you have accrued. I'm telling you, don't count on it because you're not going to get it. In fact, there's a lot of individuals, folks, that just across the board are not going to ever see the light of day of their pensions and stuff like that. And it's basically because the pension programs are going to fail as well. I mean, when the economy falls, believe me, this is going to be a hard fall when the economy falls. And so there's a lot of that stuff. 401, all that stuff is going to disappear. I actually think that when the economy crashes this time, it's going to make the 30s look like child's play. So, I think it's going to be a much larger crash. I don't think it's going to be primarily U.S. I think not only is it going to be U.S., I think it's going to be other countries, and I think it's going to be more than just, I think it's going to be a collapse of a financial system, a currency. I think it's going to be pretty disastrous, and I'm just being honest with you on that. We've got, like I say, we've got, well, the good book says 7 years of tribulation, and I think we're just getting to the edge of that. I wanted to talk about another thing while I've got you here, and it was an article that came out on RT, and let me go ahead and take you over there. As you see, the headline says, Americans defy media narrative, cite Democrats as bigger threat to U.S. democracy, a poll shows. Well, this is kind of a stark contrast to everything they've been trying to feed us. So this is what it has to say, and I'll put a link to this down in the description. Nearly 10 months of messaging by Democrat politicians, the MSM, and celebrities framing Republicans as domestic terrorists has apparently failed, as a new poll shows the accusing party is seen as the bigger threat to U.S. democracy. Who'd have thunk it? An NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll released on Monday found that the vast majority of Americans of all political stripes, 81% of overall respondents, believe there is a serious threat to the future of our democracy. Those concerns are at the same level as in January, when a protest about alleged election fraud mushroomed into a riot at the U.S. Capitol. Predictably, Democrats and Republicans are sharply divided on who poses the bigger threat to the system, but independents are leaning toward a conclusion that will likely surprise and disappoint the message massagers at CNN, MSNBC, and the Democratic National Committee. The new poll showed that 41% of independents see the Democrats as the bigger threat to democracy, compared with 37% who said Republicans were the greater concern. The remaining 22 said it was either both major parties, neither, or they weren't sure. Among all survey respondents, 42% said the Democrats were the greatest threat to democracy, while 41% named the Republicans partisan voters. Named the Republicans partisan voters were almost equally divided in pointing the finger at the rival party. While 42 to 41 is a slim edge, and certainly within the poll's margin of error, it runs counter to a theme that the ruling party and mainstream media outlets have been hammering ever since the Capitol riot. The riot was framed as a racially motivated insurrection, which, by the way, nobody was ever charged with, triggered by then-President Donald Trump to overturn his election loss to Democrat Joe Biden. The new president himself even touted it as the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War, apparently surpassing such events as the 9/11 attacks, Pearl Harbor, and the JFK assassination, and various terrorist bombings. The Capitol breach was also hyped as deadly, although the only person killed was an unarmed Trump supporter who was shot by a police officer. 3 Trump supporters at the Capitol policemen also died of natural causes, either during or shortly after the riot. The framing of conservatives as terrorists hasn't been limited to the Capitol breach, from an MSNBC host likening Texas legislators to the Taliban because of a restrictive abortion bill, to Biden's attorney general announcing, a federal crackdown on angry parents who have allegedly threatened school officials over left-wing curricula and policies. The theme has been clear: far-right Americans are terrorists. NBC News has even spun the "Let's Go Brandon" meme, an expletive-free synonym for F. Joe Biden chants, as a potential threat of violence against the president. Yeah, I mean, I was actually joking about it a little bit earlier. I just can't believe this, that they're trying to frame that as it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you know what? What it is anything they don't want to hear, they just want to shut you down. And that in itself, that alone, that's all you need to see to understand who the threat truly is. Because if somebody wants to shut down free speech, and I don't care who it is, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, no party, I don't care who it is. Right and wrong don't have a team. It's just right or wrong. There's no team for that. Republicans aren't all right. They're not all wrong. Democrats ain't all right. They aren't all wrong. Even both of them combined don't have it all right and don't have it all wrong. So you see, this whole notion is just ridiculous. But I'll tell you what. I think the people are tired of being shut up. I think their patience. Biden wants to talk about how his patience is worn thin. Really? Have you taken a look at the American people lately? That's some thin damn patience. And I really do think that it's going to come to a head quick enough. I really do believe. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of the article. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to read the rest of it. You get the gist of it. I think it's obvious, and I think we all knew that, and I think we all know that the media is very slanted. How accurate the poll is, I couldn't tell you. It could be off either direction, whatever. Who knows? Who did they poll? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm sure you can dig and find all that information. It's just that there's bigger fish to fry for me. But anyway, very interesting information. And, all I can tell folks is hang in there. Stand firm. Listen to the man. Stand firm. Because it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Nowhere in that good book does it say that this goes well, that we turn this around. Nowhere. The good book says it's going to run its course. It is what it is. Okay? We're not at a time where we're looking for heroes, because there's no day going to be saved, and we need to understand that. We need to become real about it. I'm not a pessimist whatsoever. I'm an optima-realist, right? I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. And I couldn't say that I believed what the written word said and then turn around and tell you that, oh yeah, we got a chance at turning this around. We can fix this. We can do this. You can only believe one or the other. Pick one. And then act accordingly. That's what I got for you. Have a good day. See you later. Shalom.